Okay, so we've got some special guests here in the studio today. We have Casey and Chris from Cavo.
Hello.
Welcome to Wichita Falls. How are you doing so far on your tour?
We're doing great. Tour's been going great. We've been doing some headlining run and then also mixing in these festivals, which is always a lot of fun. You get to play with a lot of really cool bands and see some awesome bands play. So.
Fantastic. Your new album, Thick as Thieves, it just came out less than 2 weeks ago. Is it still just as exciting to see your third album come out as it was to see your first or your second?
I think it's almost, in a lot of ways, it's different. You know, like the first one, it's all brand new. The second one, you're kind of like, okay, we're doing this and that. But it's fun to see how it grows. You know, how like the CD sales and the single sales, how they grow from going disc to disc. The core group of fans who just keep showing up to shows, and they go out and they buy all the albums and stuff. I find it to be kind of a progressive thing.
Awesome. Now you guys have done a lot of touring. Lots and lots of touring.
Yes,
and Thick as Thieves, the title, is very indicative of how you guys as a band have come out. You know, and you're still as close as ever. But my question is, obviously you guys get along, you're like best friends, but how do you get along with the other groups that you're touring with when you have so many dynamic personalities?
It's funny because you probably think I'm lying, but every single tour we go on, we make fast friends with everybody. I think, from Shinedown to Daughtry to Crew Fest, I mean, we tour with so many bands, and every single time, we just become fast friends. So it's actually been great.
That makes things easy then.
Yeah,
Makes you enjoy your work that much better.
It does. It makes tour really, really fun.
Good. And you guys are also really active, really interactive with your fan base. A couple weeks ago you went on YouTube, you said, hey, send us your questions on Twitter. How's that been going? Are people asking you a lot of questions? Are you getting anything random off the wall?
Yeah, we actually, the questions that we're getting are kind of like, you know, you get your obvious ones, and then some of them are like, just like, can you say hi to me? You know, type thing. It's like, but anything to do with the fans, I say it every single night on stage. It's like, if there were no fans, there wouldn't be a band. And I wholeheartedly, we live by that mantra because it's the truth. If no one, didn't matter if you were the coolest band in the world and wore the coolest clothes and wrote the coolest songs, if the people didn't buy the tickets to make sure you could come to that show, it doesn't matter. So everything is about the fans. So whatever we can do to try to like get closer in touch with that part of our fan base.
Okay. Now Champagne, of course, that was like your big breakout song. And what I'm wondering is, when I was in Lubbock this past Friday and I saw you guys play Champagne, people just went nuts for it. They were so excited. So, do you feel a pressure to have another song that would be like that, that's as big as that? When you release a song, is it nerve-wracking in some ways?
Yeah, I think going into this album, we kind of had that maybe a little bit in the back of our heads of writing another Champagne, because people kind of expected it. But I think we really kind of came together and tried to show more sides to the band with this album, and touring for so long, we kind of just developed a little bit more like as people and as players, so we kind of really wanted to show a different side of the band with some of the new songs. So
You have to accept the fact that you're not going to write that song again. Like, it's not going to happen. You're never going to rewrite that song. No one's ever going to really react the same way to the next song. You just have to accept that fact and move forward and try to write something that you're proud of, and you think that your fans are going to hear and love from you. So,
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Just try not to, write a song, just kind of let the song be itself. I think that's what we really tried to do.
All right, now, I want to know this. This one's actually for you, Casey.
Okay.
How excited are you that Justin Bieber is getting into hip-hop music?
Are we serious right now? J. Biebs? Hip-hop?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
With him and the hop, he's doing both of them?
I mean,
both, yeah.
Man's versatile. New haircuts every other day. He's pranking Taylor Swift, and now he's wholeheartedly taking over hip-hop.
Well, I don't know if he's taking it over, but he's getting into it.
Good for him, man. Good for him.
Now, you were talking earlier, Chris, how you've been out with some big acts, Daughtry, Shinedown, and Motley Crue. The list goes on and on as far as who you've toured with. But when you're on the road, do you really get much of a chance to actually go out and watch those bands and enjoy the concerts as well, or are you just so busy working that you don't really get to enjoy it?
It depends. I'd say most of the time we like on shows like today is some of our favorite times because we get to play and then we get to go watch our heroes play. Like we got to watch Buck Cherry play last night and we get to see him again tonight. So But a lot of times, I mean, you do have stuff to do, but I think for the most part, we get to check out the bands, and that's one of the best parts about what we do is we get to see our friends and, you know, people we tour to play, and this is really great.
As far as your influences as a band, do you have any bands that really kind of have influenced you, and have you gotten to actually perform with them?
I think personally we all have different influences, which is what makes us kind of an eclectic. Like when he comes up with something, it's nothing that I would have ever thought of, or Brian comes up with a bass line I never would have like pictured in my head. But like for me personally, Blue October is one of my big. I love his lyrics. I love his voice. He's so honest. And my hero of all time, I guess, would have to say would be Pearl Jam. And we got to play with Blue October a couple of times, and that was amazing. Actually, on this last album, I was telling everybody I want to write with him. I want to meet him. He ends up calling me. We talked for like an hour. Couldn't make it work time-wise.
Are you like a giddy schoolgirl whenever you get that call? And you're like, oh my gosh!
So like the first 4 or 5 minutes, yes. It's like, but then you're like, okay, he's cool as hell. He's just talking to me, telling me, you know, about himself, asking me about me. So but yes, when the phone rings, he's like, hey, this is Justin from Blue October. I'm like, can you hold on a second? Oh my God!
Yeah, I would be the same way.
Totally.
Now, you guys have said that you really don't want to overprocess your music because you want to be able to record something, but then you also want to be able to take it onto a concert setting and still have it sound the same way. So with so many bands processing so much right now musically, do you think that you'll be able to stay true to that going forward as a band, or would you rule out some of that processing on every song, or are you willing to kind of explore that? And I guess what I'm kind of actually thinking of, and obviously since I was in Lubbock this past Friday, I'm thinking about Korn. There's a lot of stuff going on with their music that I'm sure that they have to work very hard to replicate in a concert setting. And maybe that's where I'm kind of thinking that there's so much as far as auto-tune, and there's so much going on in music.
I don't know. I personally think that, you know, to each its own. So I'm not saying it's wrong or right to do it or not do it. I just think that for us, I don't think it works for our music. I don't think for us as players, I don't think it works for us. Like when we tried it in the past, and it doesn't. It just comes across like, wow, this completely took the Cavo element out of the song. And but I'm not saying that we never would if it's like 5 years down the road we write this song and it has that. It's like Jay Beebs wants to come and sing on it to show his hip hop skills.
Justin Bieber is going to take over rock music.
Yes, that's what. No, I mean it's whatever works, and that's kind of like he was saying earlier. That's kind of how we live in the band life. We like whatever works. Every idea is a good idea until it's proven wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta walk the line with it, I guess, because we're definitely a band that loves the actual personality and the playing and what adds to a song, kind of make it imperfections that make it a song great. So it's kind of walking the line of what, you know, I don't know, it's kind of like a hard thing to explain, I guess.
I guess our heroes, we all grew up like, you know, Zeppelin and Pearl Jam, the Beatles. It's like they just went out there with 4 mics, 4 instruments, and just played, and that was it, and that was good enough.
Yeah.
I think that's for us. It's like a huge testament of what we want to try and pull off too. It's like, look, it may not be the best sounding, it may not be the fullest, it may not be, you know, perfectly in tune the entire show, but it's going to be real. It's going to be live. It's going to be blood, sweat, and tears out there.
Now, as far as Thick of Thieves, it's just come out. It's been less than 2 weeks since it came out. But are you guys always kind of looking forward to what you want to do in the future? Are you always kind of thinking about that next album?
I think you always kind of are, but I think this one is just so brand new that like we're not to that stage yet. I think once like maybe a month or 2 passes, we'll start to look forward and think about what, you know, where do we want to go for our new album. But right now, I'm just so like promoting this one, trying to like, but yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, that's all the questions that I have for you guys. I really appreciate you coming into the studio.
Thanks, man.